Good morning, everybody. It's John for Father's Rights, my anti-human trafficking and child neglect and abuse YouTube channel. Come on, camera, focus. Today I want to teach my family, the younger people, there's something that we forgot, a lot of the old ways. And I just wish this camera would focus. There you go, camera. It's a new camera too, by the way, a really nice one. There's a lot of things that Grandma taught us, taught me, I don't think you guys ever learned. And it's a shame that it's going to disappear and go die with me. And I think you guys need to know this. Gia is probably right now, I would say, the only one that has that kind of spark that I seen in Grandma, even though some people tried to put it out, that I carried along, and she's got it too. And what I'm talking about is, in our environment, if you're a bad person, right, things will not flourish in your environment. If you're a bad person, like, I'll give you an example, like my daughter, you know, when she was in the custody of her mom alone, her grades went from A's to D's. She didn't want to go to school anymore. She lost her chance to get a scholarship. She got sick, COVID, like 3 times. And these things signify something that Grandma taught me. Grandma taught me when people have bad intentions, the first thing that you'll notice is the animals won't act proper around that person. They'll be apprehensive, they'll pull away, or they'll go under the table and they'll watch that person. Animals are trying to tell you something. In my neighborhood, we have these a Rottweiler and a German Shepherd that are kept locked behind a wooden fence. You can't really see the dogs, but when you go by there, they go berserk. They start growling, foaming from the mouth, going crazy. So one day, I'm walking by. I did not know it was a German Shepherd and a Rottweiler that were behind there, because it's a wooden fence and you could just see like the nose and stuff between the slats. But one day I see these 2 dogs out in the street, me not thinking. I walk up to them, they look at me, they're a little apprehensive. I start talking to them. Next thing you know, I'm petting them both. They seem pretty nice. Matter of fact, the German Shepherd was quite playful. He wanted to play. And the other dog was just sitting there, you know, what dogs do. And then the lady comes up, "Oh my God, watch out, mister, those dogs are vicious." I didn't have no problem with them. I didn't see a vicious streak in that dog. Both of them. Either way, they were pretty friendly. And she took them and she put them back in the yard. So it's a weird thing that, like, me and my daughter have this thing with animals. I used to have friends when I grew up in the neighborhood used to bring me a sick bird or a squirrel. And hey, Johnny, look, they just knew I was good with that, and I would help the animal out and get him amongst his way. When you have people with bad intentions, animals are able to tell way before you can. As a matter of fact, I think an animal can tell within 30 seconds of meeting the person. There must be a scent or something that they give off that these animals can, you know, pick up. Now on plants, on the other side, as my wife's attitude began to sour, and she began to believe the tenets of feminism, all of a sudden, after she was planning to stab me in the back and accuse me of something I didn't do, the plants in the house started to die. And I turned around and I mentioned to her, "Hey, why are these plants dying? I'm trying everything to keep them alive." Then I don't know, but Grandma popped into my head and said, you know, anything that's alive around a bad person doesn't flourish, it dies. So I said, my grandmother always said, something wicked this way comes, if you see that happening to the plants. And she went over there and looked, and she was like, the plants told them when I'm up to something bad. I told her there's somebody up to something bad, that they're going to do something bad to us. Little did I know it was her. She can verify it. And the problem with that is that when you look into that person's family, their children have passed before their time. They have a lot of mental illness in the family. If you would go back in the day and present this to grandparents and stuff, they would say that family is cursed. And it's when they left here, it's like everything good started to fall in my lap. I started to flourish. I'll give you an example. Remember the dead plant thing? Look at this plant. It was the one that was dying. Look at it now. I couldn't save the other one, but this one? This is what I say. When you have a person with a bad presence about them, or they're not showing you who they truly are, you'll find out by just watching how everything reacts around them. Now, I know my daughter. I love her to death. And I wanted to see if she was like me. We went to the Double D Ranch, and we were looking at the animals. We make a small donation so they could take care of them because they're abandoned farm animals. And then lo and behold, when we're walking, my daughter turns around and a goat hopped the fence, and he was on his, I guess in the goat's mind, he was on his way to his new home. Because he was walking right behind us, following us, which I found funny. My daughter found it hysterical. We have that connection with animals and nature around us, which city living kind of breaks. And a lot of people have it, but they don't realize they have it, especially if you're a person with good soul. To tell you the truth, it's God's way of saying you don't belong in Sodom and Gomorrah. You belong someplace else. So you'll notice these things, and I think that's something Grandma would have taught you if you would have listened and paid a little bit more attention to her. You know, she put her spirit in things, and I know my daughter has it because I took her to a zoo, and I'm weird. I go into the lovebirds cage and they all land on me, and I'm playing with them, and other people can't even get one bird to come over. And I got 10 of them, and I'm feeding them, and I'm playing with them, and they seem pretty friendly. My daughter has that same spark. My daughter shouldn't give up on life and adopt these ideologies of the modern world because they're just toxic to the environment that they're always present in. And again, when I took my daughter to the zoo to check her out to see which side of the spectrum she's on, there's a cow, and her name is, we nicknamed her Lizzo. Now all the other children could be there feeding them. She won't move. If it's hot, she'll stay in her shed laying down. The kids could be feeding all the other animals. She won't get up. But when my daughter comes there, she would get up, push all the other animals out of the way just to see my daughter. And my daughter knows that cow's name because we gave her a name together. We called her Lizzo. So my daughter has the spark, and I hope she still has it. And I hope she realizes by adopting the ideology of these pretty despicable people who give away their young children to adult males, that's not good at all. And if you turn around and you look at what's happening to them, they have nothing but problems, sickness, in debt, liens, judgments, all kinds of bad things that can be inflicted upon the person. They endure those barbs. There's none of them over here. And a matter of fact, I doubt if I ever want to give up my peace again. I come home, it's peaceful. I have time to think. I have time to plan. And everything is working out. So on that note, people, never forget where you came from. You know, never forget. Don't turn those things off. They're there for us to use. Don't forget the old school stuff. If you remember the old school stuff, you'll probably be in a lot less trouble and a lot less lonelier, and the people around you will actually be true friends. I have friends for life that I can count on. For life. By just being true and not hanging out with a bunch of creeps. And on that, I'm out of here.